for a woman, well and knowing, I agree with you. We know that we could get pregnant if we decide to move forward with this. You also know that she could get pregnant if you decide to move forward with this. So even though it's on her and her body, right, to carry and grow that baby, and that burden is on her for that time, you also know the weight of the burden that can be on you for having a baby with someone that you don't want a baby with. And I'm not just talking about child support, but the stress, baby mama drama, dealing with someone that you hardly know and don't like, and having them actually raise your child. The responsibility is still, it still lies on both to me.
You know, I was listening to the young man. I personally hate this particular topic matter because it always seems to move. Um, the buck moves. Unprotected vagina is dangerous. We need to really, in my opinion, if we're gonna have any type of progress, we gotta stop making it seem like people don't know where babies come from. And we really need to stop making it seem like a woman in the exchange of having sex that is consensual is a victim, because she's not. This is not me saying that men don't have a responsibility, but it's just so convenient that men's responsibility is still now and again over even your biological process. That is autonomous, like autonomously yours, like individually yours. So if you are going to arrive at the plate of giving your body to whomever you choose, you need to be an adult about it. Sex is an adult activity, but it all and we're smart enough to understand the smartest way to probably do this is to be in a relationship that you don't mind if an accident occurs. Accident, right? But I just don't understand. And from what I've studied, don't have a vagina. From what I've studied, getting pregnant is not an everyday type of thing. This happens around a specific time of the month. That so if you've been with yourself from 13 to 23 to 30, and you don't know when your cycle is at its peak, you're an irresponsible person. And I get tired of that. Like dudes like him and other men, in my opinion, who subscribe to thinking that we have the same level of responsibility. I don't agree with that. I think that there's things in life that we have to carry and own. When I was a young man, and I'm pretty sure the young men on this panel, we were taught that we were not supposed to handle young ladies in a certain way because we're physically stronger than them. That when we're around them, we need to treat them in a certain manner because our physical prowess is just more dominant. Somehow, some way, women didn't get the memo that babies come out of you. So it is your responsibility, young lady, to make sure that you take extra precaution. And I can't subscribe to it being an equal fault. It doesn't make any sense. Don't try to take the easy route and wrap it up around pleasure and wanting to get the benefits of it. And then when real life hits, you want to punk out and back out. That mess is nonsense. And I'll land.
Can
True
I
was making
respond
a,
real quick?
yeah, he was making a compelling argument,
He was making a compelling argument. Okay.
changing my mind.
I was going to I was with you for a second, True. Um, what I don't agree with, right, is a few things. First and foremost, you stated like boys were taught you have to handle women a certain way because you're stronger than them, right? You are also taught to wrap up, put a condom on, because you don't need to be out here making babies. So if even though we are both consenting adults, and I'm not taking away the responsibility from the woman, just as she knows that she's laying down with you to have sex unprotected, you also know that there's a risk that if you have sex unprotected, you may get her pregnant, right? Because, like you stated, you don't know her cycle. And believe it or not, what's crazy, because you stated this, you were like, I'm not a woman, I don't have a vagina, but from 13 to 25 or however old, you should know when your cycle is. That's not true. For a lot of women, let me tell you why. There are a few different factors, right? Everyone's cycle is not a regular 28-day cycle, right? A normal cycle goes 28 days. Right after your period, you have about, I believe, four days before your ovulation period. We started learning this once we got apps to track our cycle. That has not always been a thing. Everyone also doesn't have a normal cycle. I had a friend that didn't have a period for 6 months and got pregnant. Okay. So every woman's body is not the same. So just to blatantly say, like, she should know when this is happening, they don't always know, unfortunately. But it's still both parties' responsibility. I'm not saying that it's just the man or that it's just the woman. It's both of our responsibility to make sure we're having protected sex if we decide to do that, because we know the risk is if we don't, we could get pregnant. Not I can just get pregnant. Yes, the baby's in my body, but it's your seed. So now it's
Yeah.
our responsibility, right? If I decide I'm going to have this baby. Now, I agree with Aaron to a certain degree. That should be a conversation. Should we do this? Should we not? And depending on where that woman is and what she decides she wants to do, because also the procedure of terminating a child is extremely traumatic. When women go through it, it's something you never forget. But also, it's very traumatic to have a child. Women die giving birth, especially Black women. It changes your body so much. He spoke furthermore about fibroids in that video. A lot of Black women start getting fibroids after we have a child. We don't even know why our periods and menstruals are so bad. They don't educate us on this stuff. And then all of a sudden, we have all of these issues in our uterus and we're unable to have more children. So there are so many different factors here. And to say that it's, we're taking away the responsibility away from the woman, I think that's a stretch. It's both people's responsibility equally. From the moment we decide we're going to lay down and have unprotected sex, we both have to be grown and adult enough to be like, okay, if a baby comes from this, then we have to be able to deal with it. One party can't decide they want to back out and not want to move forward with it. And then one party can't just blame another party and say, a woman should have known. You should know better. You should do better. You should too. We both should know better as adults.
I'm after
I'm
you,
not.
True.
I'm not saying. And so hopefully I'm not confused. I understood what you said. I understood what the man said, and it is an unfortunate medical weight that you guys have to carry. As women and all the things that you have to battle. What I'm not gonna do. This is me. I'm not gonna speak for the other men because I'm a little bit different when the way I carry my life. Some things are black and white. This is black and white. Women have babies. How it got to you getting pregnant is relevant, but it is not relevant to the weight of who carries said pregnancy. That's irrefutable. What I can't understand is how we as smart individuals don't understand this. This is why at one point in time in history, they made sure to protect y'all from this progression. Because this right here, the freedom now that we've enacted, is why we have stupid conversations like this. And when I say stupid, this is dumb. If I had a girl and I had a boy, I'm equally going to equip my children with the idea that you are responsible for your choices. But I am definitely going to let that young lady know that what you carry in the having this, because what it's painted like is that sex is equal. Sex is never equal, ever. In pregnancy is also never equal. So it was interchangeable how you said we are going to have this baby, but then you also went back and said, if I decide. And that's my problem with it. It can't be a we when you want it convenient and then an I when you want it convenient. Women need to pick a lane. If you're going to open your legs, sweetheart, whoever you are, to any man that you choose is worthy in that moment, you need to be going into it understanding that I could produce life. Men have this all the time, wrapping up all these things. We get it. But it's something about pregnancy and women wanting to share the load when you are responsible. So regardless of if apps are working currently or you not sure how your system is tracked, if it is that serious, Ty, in my opinion, women need to shut the freaking factory down and stop being so casual when it comes to sex and then creating life that they can't sustain by themselves, clearly. If it's that serious, because there's things that as men we have to deal with all the time that are not even sexual. If you hit somebody while you're driving a car, do you think the court cares about if you was distracted or your phone rung? They don't. You took a license, you took a test, you're responsible. Why is it that when we talk about sex when it comes to women, we eliminate them being responsible. Why is that?
How are we eliminating them being responsible when I said that both parties are responsible? And just like you stated, true, for a woman, well and knowing, I agree with you. We know that we could get pregnant if we decide to move forward with this. You also know that she could get pregnant if you decide to move forward with this. So even though it's on her and her body, right, to carry and grow that baby, and that burden is on her for that time, you also know the weight of the burden that can be on you for having a baby with someone that you don't want a baby with. And I'm not just talking about child support, but the stress, baby mama drama, dealing with someone that you hardly know and don't like, and having them actually raise your child. The responsibility is still, it still lies on both to me.
I'll
But
say
I
this.
want.
I'll say this real quick. Pass it. And I don't disagree with you, Ty. Again, I don't want to be confused that I can say men don't have a responsibility. I don't want the listeners to get that sentiment. The way I hear it from
Mhm.
you and from other women,